Welcome back to Commercial Finance Experts Academy. My name is Stuart Chung, and this is Robert Klein. He's really happy to come here today and to give us more insight about how he's able to finance all these residential files. And where sometimes when you have some issues with either clients not making enough income and they have too many rental properties, understandable. I use Filogix, and most of residential brokers use Filogix, and the numbers just don't jive. Things are out of whack. It's never accurate, because the time you send it to a lender, they tell you that your TDS GDS is not the same as what they see.
Yeah, so,
and that's an issue, right?
Well, that's one issue. The reason lender analysis, before lender analysis was even made, it was an Excel sheet. And it was, I had a crazy client, it was a dog, not crazy client, but it was a crazy situation where a client made like 400 grand a year, had a $3 million house, had a $3 million rental, and wanted to buy another $3 million rental. So I had to take out equity out of his principal residence and then buy a rental at some other lender. And then there was corporate income, and there was income split to his daughters. And it was just a blatant gong show. And it was like, you enter this stuff into Filogix or anything normal, you just wanted to not do well.
Yeah.
So then it got to the point, like me and my sister do all our underwriting together. She's a mortgage broker, Krista Klein.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where Krista's like, I can't figure this thing out. And I consider myself pretty decently smart for figuring things out. So I'm like, this is the problem. So then I sat down at Starbucks in 2017 early, and I said, okay, I need to rethink mortgage math. And my question was, what can I compare? What is easy to compare so I can go from lender to lender to lender?
Yeah.
So the one thing that was constant between every lender was how much this person made. Like, this person makes 100 grand a year at Scotiabank, he makes 100 grand a year at TD Bank.
And everybody else.
Now, if I can convert these properties to income amounts too, then I could easily compare it. And then I can figure out if this income he makes is higher than the property here, then it's going to qualify at that bank.
Easy enough, yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically what I did. And then it turned out to work very well. I was able to solve that whole issue. And then I guess I was using it for, I used it initially for all my ridiculously hard deals, and then I started using it for just everything. So when a client would call me and they'd be like, hey Rob, I want to buy this, this, and this, I'm like, yeah, I would just input it, and I'd figure out immediately what they could or could not do, and that was that. And then I did a post on ILMB talking about, hey, I got this thing, anyone interested in it? And then I had like 650 people say they're interested in it, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe that we should build this into something, so we built lender analysis.
Well, when you can make our life easier, everybody else wants to make it easier, right?
Yeah.
What's the website? Lender Analysis?
Yeah, lender analysis.
Lender.
So right now, I'm sending a bunch of data. The people that are using this,
.com, right?
Yeah, .ca.
Did you see it? Okay.
Are right now they're there's gonna be a ton more stuff that can be done with it. But right now, I can see that people are using it for the outskirt deals. So someone makes 100 grand a year, and they have on a 300 grand mortgage. You don't need much of an analysis.
No.
But a guy makes 100 grand a year and they have 4 rentals, and they got to take equity at another one, and they got all that stuff. Then they're using it specifically for.
Especially when they already have a million or so mortgage.
Yeah, you should see my lender analysis. It's pretty fun. So that's one use case so far. And so people in the last 10 days have been using it for that. I've obviously used it a bit more, and now I didn't realize how clean the interface was, so that I can actually use Zoom or
that's right.
Screen share.
The screen sharing program.
Yeah. And I use screen share, and I sat down in person with them. And then when I get into conversation, I'll just open it up, and then I'll just type in all the numbers, and they start seeing the numbers. So the one thing that surprised me, that I didn't realize it was, mortgage, I would say a lot of mortgage brokers don't even understand mortgage math. They just put it into Filogix and hope for the best. That's
right.
If you're asking the mathematical equation what's going on in there, they don't really know, right? They forgot the course, which is fun. Most people do. But if you're in extreme mortgage situations, you need to know the math, right? If you have a 300 grand average mortgage, the guy makes 100 grand a year, who cares? You don't just put it in, it works. So what I ended up doing is I ended up sitting down with my clients and actually showing it and actually discussing it. And what surprised me was they understood it. They understood mortgage financing, because what I had to do is I had to figure out what is comparable. What could I compare when I was solving this problem with lender analysis was, if this guy makes 100 grand a year,
the cost.
What could I compare? So if this property can be converted to an income too, say $50,000 a year, and he makes 100 grand a year under these conditions, I know this deal works at this lender.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the conversion of turning a property to an income. I was able to understand complicated deals, but also the client was able to understand that logic.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay,
Makes sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so they understood. So I'm now, like, I'll give you an example. If I go with a first-time home buyer, which I don't really anymore, but if I did, this is what I would do. I would put up lender analysis and I want 5% down, right?
That's right.
So I'll show them the 5% down numbers and I'll be like, oh, wow, you qualify for $100,000. Right?
Simple.
That's it. That's about it these
That's it.
days. So then I show that. Then now I want to make myself interesting. Then I'm going to say, okay, so this is one option. It's not that great. The second option is, can we come up with 20% down? Then I show them the math of that, and we're just calculating. It goes, oh wow, instead of qualifying for $300,000, I'm now qualifying for $420 or $450. Great. Then I go, oh, by the way, just for you to know, not that they're going to do this. I go, what happens if we buy a house with a basement suite?
That's right.
And then it goes
Oh.
from $450 to $850 or $800,000 worth of qualifying.
Yeah.
And he's like,
What?
how is this possible?
Yeah.
And now the question comes up, well, where do we get the money? Can we get money from your parents?
There you go.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting, like if I was a new broker, I want to make myself interesting to them.
Yeah.
So even though they may not do all those things,
Yes.
I'm the source that has some level of intelligence.
Yeah. You are the potential possibilities
Yes.
as far as they can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That adds value, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned Zoom, which is the one that I use for some webinar for.
I use it for everything
Yeah,
now.
I use it for a webinar, and sometimes I show for screen sharing too, because you can show them exactly what you're doing on the
Yeah.
screen, and it's pretty simple setup. There are other screen sharing programs as well, but because I use that platform, I pay for it, and it actually does recording, so you can record
Oh, yeah. I give it free.
all of your stuff, and
Right,
you can
yeah.
send it to them, and they can watch it afterwards, which is really cool.
No, it's excellent. I use it all the time.
Yeah, that's the one I like about the recording function, so they can have a multi-purpose use afterwards. These are great website. Right now they're all free. Zoom, I paid to have more access to it and all that registration and everything else included.
So
But
the future of lender analysis, we think, is being able to share analysis with each other. So imagine
that would be very cool.
Imagine being a broker owner.
In a community.
Imagine being a broker owner,
Yeah.
aka for example Camilo,
Yeah.
that we work with, right?
Yeah.
He's responsible for 40 agents, and he's probably got 15 to 20 that are learning this.
Yeah.
So when Camilo gets a deal in, and a client comes up asking a question, or the broker comes to ask a question to Camilo, what ends up happening? He has to go into file logics, look at the deal, figure out what meant. It's amazingly difficult.
Yeah.
So we think that by being able to share between brokers and underwriters, all that stuff, you can analyze just like that.
Faster.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So even like for you, your commercial, there's all those situations. People can build an emphasis on the thing,
Yeah.
add you to it, you can look at it, immediately talk about it, and solve it.
I think that's going to be the next step
It is.
of this program.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for showing up, Robert. Thanks for coming, guys, watching us. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.